Hey, you. Yeah, you, operator. You use Warframes. You probably have a favorite Warframe. I'm gonna tell you what your favorite Warframe says about you. Every single thing I say in this video is 100% factual and definitely not a joke. I'm a very serious Cephalon. You're about as sneaky as a car crash, but it's two black electric cars crashing into each other at midnight, so maybe it's a little bit less noticeable. You're someone who thoroughly enjoys abusing invisibility in games as a tool to be as aggressive as humanly possible. Now, the enemies will still have absolutely no idea what's going on, but it's really more because of your speed than your stealthiness. You probably really like crit builds and slash damage. You simply like to hit things really hard. You were hyped when Atlas got his rework and buffs, and now you love wombo comboing the enemy Street Fighter style. You know Atlas is hilariously strong in the right hands, and your hands sure are right for it. You also love the fact that Prime Sure-Footed is simply unnecessary for you. You're a big nerd that loves to learn everything about whatever game you play in order to break it as much as humanly possible. You know how weak Banshee seems and love the fact that you can blast through the damage cap with every shot from an automatic weapon. You're also well aware of how strong silence actually is, and normally wipe out entire rooms while the enemies are still unable to fight back. You live for the chat messages from teammates asking why everything they shoot dies in one hit from their weakest weapon. You also probably have a ton of casting speed and spam like crazy to shield gate and hard content. You're probably also someone who loves Excalibur and Valkyr, but something about Baruuk's fist just feels so right. Swords are cool, but you prefer to flow like water and strike like a freight train. You enjoy the fact that Baruuk is all but unkillable and live for melee combos. You hate capture missions because they barely let you even use your exalted weapon. You're secretly a little bit jealous of Excalibur because he can just spam his sword as much as he wants. You never use any focus school other than Nariman, even on frames where it makes no sense. You are a status monster. You know damn well that Citrine is bordering on overpowered, and the only thing that keeps her in check is the fact that grinding her in the first place is akin to peeling your skin off. You've probably sent screenshots to your friends with 300 stacks of several different status effects on an enemy health bar just because it's funny. You probably just put a bunch of crit damage on your weapons and don't even bother with crit chance because you know Citrine's just gonna take care of the rest. You may be interested in the citrusy. For real, I feel like I can't even show that on YouTube, but alright, whatever. You are a sniper. Plain and simple. You probably play snipers in other video games where you pick off long-range targets one at a time and love that Warframe enables you to blast entire roomfuls of enemies just from a single well-placed shot. You really are pretty damn good at clicking on heads and love the huge funny numbers that pop up every single time you do it. You probably only ever use electric, gas, or blast from his resupply because it lets you nuke areas harder. Your allies probably don't even realize they have a sight in the squad until they go a couple minutes without seeing an enemy, and when they hit tab you have 99% of the team's damage. You've actually had squad members leave plenty of times on you because they just can't find anything to kill and get bored or frustrated. You actually hate when someone else is just as good at killing everything because then you lose evade and die. If you aren't a sniper, you might engage in more creative tactics. You're kind of a jack of all trades. You love the fact that Caliban is not only pretty fast, but can nuke entire rooms of enemies or stack statuses at a really alarming pace. You're versatile and equipped for anything, and your little sentient buddies are better friends than any people you've ever known. You might prefer certain playstyles, but you're really capable of anything if push comes to shove. You're probably an old school player. You love relying on your weapons, whether that's melee or ranged or both, and love face tanking comically absurd levels of damage with just your health bar. You love Warframe's base gameplay loop, and you're equipped to perform it better than anyone else. You're probably a lot better at basic movement and shooting than anyone else in the squad because that's kind of all you ever do. You love simple reliability. After all, your Warframe can take a metric ton of damage and dish out just the same amount, so why overcomplicate it? You also might be a protector, and Guardian Armor is your favorite mod they've ever added to the game. You are a horse girl, but like a really toxic one, you know? You love crit builds and enjoy using your weapons to the fullest extent on enemies with free viral procs everywhere. You pretty much always have full energy, and you know that the biggest threat in Warframe is getting randomly one-shotted by an attack you didn't even see. You love that Dagath solves this issue. If all else fails, you really just fling horses at people and watch them explode. That is, unless there's a tiny hill in the way. You hate the fact that her Kythes just kinda miss sometimes because of terrain. You live for spectacle, and you're still a little upset that Dante's ability to kill everybody through walls was immediately removed. You love slamming tens of thousands of overguard on both yourself and allies as soon as the mission starts, and honestly, that's usually enough to make everybody invincible, unless it's a pretty tough mission. You love nuking everyone in sight and dealing absurd damage with your tome, all from the safety of your overguard. You know very well that Dante's capable of a lot more than overguard and spamming your 3 and 4, but really, spamming does solve almost all of your issues, so you do it anyways. You're probably one of the only players who actually remembers what Dante's passive does, and you just so happen to have almost every enemy in the game codex scanned, even if you don't really care. You love heat damage. Or butts. You might like butts. You're probably new and have never played Uriel or Temple, or you're an old player who's mained Ember from the beginning and refuses to change. You still do pretty damn well and enjoy being the underdog. People kind of expect you to be weak, and you rolled your eyes at me immediately mentioning Uriel and Temple like everyone else does. I know that must get tiring. Your Ember build is surprisingly strong, and you're proud to show off the results to both your allies and your enemies. Nobody ever really sees you in games, but there's always somehow at least 10 of you with an heirloom skin dancing in the relay. We're about halfway through now, and if you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It tells me that making more is a good idea. Also, thank you to my channel members for their support. Or my channel member. I've only got one, but I have to shout out someone, right? You're a very technical player, and probably another old-school veteran that used to decimate back in the day. You love the amount of utility Equinox has to offer, even if her damage isn't quite as impressive as it used to be. You like variety and feel like most Warframes are too basic, but you were probably really happy to get your hands on Sirius and Orion, because nothing even really comes close to what Equinox has. You might not always do an absurd amount of damage, but you know for sure that you're helping the team a lot more than they're helping you. You're either brand new and have no idea what's going on, or you're a total monster. You know Excalibur's damage is still pretty damn high, and you often effortlessly destroy entire rooms of enemies while intentionally, or accidentally, sniping other crowds through the wall. You've mastered projectile leading and often act as a mid-range sniper with the Exalted Blade. You practically broke down into tears of joy when Excalibur Umbra was released. Or broke down into tears of rage because your Excalibur Prime is now kind of a lot less cool. Either way, you enjoy being the poster boy for the game and cutting your way through like a real Tenno should. That, or you're kind of just working on grinding Rhino right now. You're either an old-school COD custom emblem aficionado or a modern-day MS Paint Michelangelo. You love utility, and you love abusing the massive arsenal of kinda goofy traps and pickups Follie can simply conjure into being. You probably love the fact that she can do heavy damage despite barely putting any strength on her. You either really enjoy the specific toolkit that Follie has to offer, or you find her specific, shape language eye-catching. I'll leave it at that. You're probably a hardcore old-school Warframe player who remembers the days before bullet jumping, or you're someone who decided to try Frost after finding Velimir to be charming or funny. Velimir is actually probably a pretty accurate characterization of Frost players themselves. Pretty, chill, eh? You're a little silly, but level-headed and steady. You're probably also a bit of an alcoholic, to be honest. You still play Frost because you like to protect people and objectives, and you love how simple and effective Frost is at that exact thing. You know all the other insane things that new Warframes are capable of, and you've probably tried most of them, but they're just not Frost. Frost feels like home. You love control. You enjoy the fact that Gara dominates the field when she's present in a squad, and love how effortlessly she handles it. You love being survivable and durable, but in a more elegant way than just face-tanking damage and out-healing it. You once had a new player in your squad who could barely survive, and you really tried to chase them with Splinter Storm for like 2 minutes before giving up and deciding it wasn't worth it. You probably inverted your tap and hold settings in the options for Gara. I'm kinda scared of you. You love Garuda's ability to literally shred enemies. Garuda's talons are your favorite melee weapon in the game, and nothing else quite lives up to them. You know for sure that tossing Dreadmir's Blood Ball more frequently is more efficient, but there's really nothing as fun as holding it for as long as possible, because seeing the damage numbers roll over into scientific notation is really funny every time. You're definitely some kind of freak, but I just can't prove it. You probably picked up Gauss thinking he was the speed demon frame until you encountered a Titania. Also, 50% of you just got upset with how I said Gauss instead of Gauss, and Titania instead of Titania, but potato. You know Gauss might not technically be the fastest, but he damn sure is versatile and strong, and he's still pretty fast. Watching your shield somehow regenerate faster than the enemies rapidly slamming bullets into your body just tickles your brain and makes you happy. You probably cast Thermal Sunder at least 300 times per mission if you're really taking it seriously. You probably have Redline on loop in your orbiter, and I can't even blame you. You're probably a pretty laid-back player. You're strong as hell if you really try, but you usually don't. You're just kinda here to have a good time, you know? You much prefer being the mission host, because trying to deal with desync while you're eating enemies or knocking them into ragdoll is really annoying if you've got 150 ping. You sometimes just hang out and pulverize because, I mean, you can. It looks funny and you can do it. There's nothing wrong with it. You know how fast Grendel can actually be, and you love blowing people's minds with your impression of Sonic. If you did ever decide to try Overwatch for whatever reason, Wrecking Ball was definitely your immediate favorite. I'd go out to lunch with you, but only if you're paying for your own food. I really can't afford that right now. You just love dealing damage. Critical numbers popping up in funny colors all over your screen like a slot machine just makes your brain so happy. You often roll for absolutely no reason because you love how it looks on Gyre, and you probably run Rolling Guard just to have a justification for how often you do it. Losing Cathode Grace's effect and having it go on cooldown legitimately makes your soul ache. I don't even main Gyre, and it hurts. I know. Most other AoE damage dealers feel really clunky and slow to you, so you hardly ever swap off Gyre. You might like Caliban, though. You're probably a bit of a lore nerd, and Rel's story really struck a chord with you. You're someone who enjoys technically helping your teammates while also massively outperforming them. You know using Thurible for less time is probably better, but you choose to channel every last drop of your energy into it every single time while pretending to pray. It's just a requirement for playing Harrow. You love rapid-fire weaponry and absolutely despise wasting time on reloading. You've always been someone who prefers critical damage weapons, and you fell in love with Harrow the moment you found your first Harrow chassis and looked up his kit. You now also, unfortunately, have several thousand Harrow chassis. You love being a genuine tank. Protecting your little squishy teammates while decimating everything that could hurt them makes you feel strong in a way that no other Warframe really does. You're probably someone who loves health tanks and decided to give Hildryn a shot just to see if shields were nearly as good, and now you're addicted. The only mod in your entire kit that actually matters is Balefire's Augment. You kinda just run whatever mods you want because you know Balefire's just gonna delete anything you aim it at anyways. You have Amalgam Barrel Diffusion on so many guns that you legitimately forget to switch off it when you're playing a different Warframe. Now, you might not be like this guy, but the words, muscle mommy have left your mouth at least one time, even if you tell yourself it's a joke. Thank you so much for watching, operators. I hope this video was enjoyable, and I will see you next time. Ciao.